Happy Wednesday night, everybody. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Let's go straight into the Bible study for Wednesday night. Now, the first scripture reference we're going to look at is Genesis chapter 12, verses 4 and 5. Tonight, we are going to cover Sarah. Now, we have been covering people of the Bible, so tonight, let's take a look at Sarah. Living by faith. Is God trying to birth something in you? Trusting God's work in the life of another. The call and promise from God actually came to Abraham, Sarah's husband. Is there room in your walk with God for God to use someone else in your life and you support them? Can you imagine when Abraham told Sarah about the promise, the birth of a coming child at their ages? God had given Abraham the promise. Sarah was 65 and beautiful. Even Pharaoh took notice of her beauty. Abraham even lied about Sarah being his wife and said that she was his sister. But God had Sarah's back. Believing God's got your back, even when others don't. Abraham lied to protect himself because he thought that Pharaoh would kill him and take Sarah. God brought plagues upon Pharaoh in Egypt because of Sarah to keep her safe. God has your back even when others don't. Abraham's insecurities put Sarah in a vulnerable position, but God had her back. God always has your back. Walk by faith. Sarah had left her family to support Abraham. She believed that God could work in the life of another. But Abraham left her in danger. But God had her back. Abraham ended up telling Pharaoh that Sarah was indeed his wife, and then they continued to walk with God. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 16, verses 1 and 2. Abraham and Sarah could not bear children. Counting yourself in and not out of God's plan. Sarah ended up bowing to culture. Back then, if you were barren and could not bring forth a child, they did it by proxy. She used her servant, Hagar. Sarah removed herself. She removed herself from God's plan. Don't miss that. Don't discount yourself. Don't remove yourself from God's plan. God can use you, and there is a place and plan of God for you. Count yourself in God's plan. God will use you in the plan. Stop living in the land of self-doubt. You think your time is up? Do you think your time is up? You are in God's plan. When God does what He does, we can take no credit for it. You are in God's plan. You can live by culture's way, church's way, or Christ's way. Culture, rules, or Christ's way. Christ's way is the way. Let's go to Genesis chapter 18, verses 9 through 15. Sarah and Abraham are old in age now, way past childbearing years. But the promise. Let's go to Genesis 21, the promise. Fulfilled. Sarah has a son. Nothing is impossible to God. Live a life by faith, knowing that nothing is impossible to God. Are you facing an impossible assignment in work or ministry? Are you facing a new assignment? Nothing is impossible to God. Are you facing a new assignment in school or career? Nothing is impossible to God. Sarah had faith. Trust God and believe God. Count yourself in today. I hope that you were richly blessed by this tonight. I was richly blessed. I thank God for the life of Sarah. I thank God for the life of Abraham. But I thank God for the life of Sarah as we covered her tonight, even when she took things into her own hand and tried to have a child with her servant. But God still blessed her. So count yourself in, whether you are starting a new job, a new assignment, a new ministry, going back to school, staying in school. Stop counting yourself out. As you see, the word says Sarah counted herself out. And that's how the enemy will come to you. He will have you count yourself out and say, oh, it won't happen through me or by me or with me or for me. Stop letting the enemy in on your thoughts. Don't count yourself out. Tonight, I want you to count yourself back in. And I want you to get up right now and stand up and shout as loud as you can and say, yes, you thought you had me, but you don't. I'm counting myself back in by faith. All right. Have a blessed and wonderful Wednesday night and the rest of your week. Be blessed.